Alright, what's up everybody? Back with another video. It's the end of the year, which means we're getting towards all of my end of the year rankings and reviews and lists and all that jazz. Today is going to be my new iteration of the top 50 roller coasters list. Something that I started a couple of years ago. I think it was last year. Last year I started it, but we're doing it again this year. Guys, I only had one new credit in 2025. I had a lot going on, and also just couldn't get out and about as much to amusement parks, and so the only new coaster I rode was Cedar Point. Sorry. I know. A pretty weak year, but my rankings did change on some of the ones that I was able to also re-ride, so we're going to be getting into that today. And I just always like, keep it fresh, keep it updated. It is something that I'll do, like to try and make a yearly thing. So, I'm not going to be honorable mentioning the ones that did not make the list. We're just going to be jumping right into it because, honestly, I am hoping to get it a little bit more filled out in the future so that we can have a better top 50. Because my top 50 is still quite weak, all things considered. But no more time to waste. Let's just get right into it, shall we? Coming in at the number 50 spot is still going to be Corkscrew at Cedar Point. Yeah. Shows how strong my top 50 is, right? This coaster's not great. I want to get it kicked off the list. There's just nothing else. Everything below it is either kiddie rides or so abysmally bad that it's either gone or should be gone. And this coaster probably does fit into that category too. The only thing it's got going for it is its scenery. Because they finally stopped making that area right around the corkscrew. They finally stopped making that a smoking area. So you can actually enjoy it now. So you can go enjoy it now. And I would recommend doing it because I can assure you that this coaster probably will not be sticking around much longer. So, at number 49, I've got another Cedar Point coaster, this being the Woodstock Express. This one kind of surprised me with how fun it was, being a kid's coaster. The turns are actually pretty fun. It's smooth, and it actually does make for a pretty enjoyable experience. For a kid's coaster, it's also pretty long, which is nice. So I'll give credit where credit is due. This was a good one. I mean, it is a kiddie coaster, though. That's the reason why it's down at number 49. I was even surprised to even get on this thing. I liked it. Cool. Probably never gonna ride it again, but I can say I did. So cool. It's a good Vekoma too. Something that's not very common. Number 48, I also have the Cedar Creek Mine Ride. Really not that bad of a ride, all things considered. It is another tame family style attraction, right? It's not terrible. The only complaint, the reason why I think it's not even a little bit higher on this list, because it's not the only mine train coaster that I've ridden, but the restraints on this thing are not great, and that's mostly just because of its age. It did just, I think this year turned, it's nearing 60 years old, and so the bars on the coasters are one giant bar that covers everybody. So if you are like a fat guy and you're sitting next to a skinny guy, good luck, because they got to make sure that skinny guy's in there, because there's no seatbelts or anything. So they're going to shove you in there pretty good. So have fun with that. But other than that, it's a fine ride. It's not one that I think will be around much longer, kind of like Corkscrew, because it is kind of forgettable. But it is a nice, still family-style attraction, so I think that's what's going to give it leverage to stay over like a Corkscrew. At number 47, this one's kind of a big tie. It's all the disco coasters that I've ridden in the world in general. I've ridden 3 of them now: Pipe Scream, Avatar Airbender, and Surf Dog. They all are just okay. I mean, they're the same, pretty much the same. That's why I grouped them all together. And I gotta say, they're fine. They're fine coasters. They're not I mean, most people don't even classify them as a coaster. I do, because I feel like it, so suck it, liberals. But they can be very disorienting, especially with a lot of people. You're kind of sliding into each other, and it's, the spinning is not for everybody. I do get that, but the airtime is depending on who you're sitting with, or the kind of day it is. You can get some decent airtime, and the ramp parts at the ends, they're pretty fun. You get some nice zero gravity moments there. It's not necessarily a terrible ride, so can't complain too much. There's just not a lot else going on here, hence why I got down at number 47. At number 46, I've got Lightning Racer at Hershey Park. This is going to count for both sides of Lightning Racer. They're pretty bad. Pretty bad. They are very rough. The layout is a very, very, very well thought out design. The execution for building the design, though, is not par for the course. Let's just say that. This is a very rough ride, especially when they tell you to cross your legs and then your legs are stuck crossed and they're like bouncing on top of each other. Yeah, that's going to be great in 50 years when I have arthritis. So that's going to be awesome. But I do have to give credit to the dueling aspect of it, as well as the design of the coaster. It's awesome. It's just past its age. It needs either a severe retracking or really the RMC treatment would be nice here. I don't want to see this go, though I do think Hershey Park, seeing they already do have an RMC, would probably just prefer to take this guy out and put something new in. And that would really suck. But in its current state, no. No, thank you. Number 45, I've got the entirety of Vekoma SLCs. More specifically, the only one that I've ridden, which is Thunderhawk at Michigan's Adventure. But I'm putting all the other Vekoma SLCs on here because they all have the same layout. Sorry. Till I ride a good one, they're going to stay at 45. And really, these aren't as bad as everybody makes them out to be. They're actually pretty fun inverts. Now, I know that the one at Michigan's Adventure, Thunderhawk, is one of the better ones. It did get an upgrade recently. It's got nicer restraints, a repaint, whatever. It's a bit on the higher end of the SLC rankings. I'm sure if I go to like a Six Flags park and ride one of the billions of those that they've got, probably not going to like it as much. But they're pretty intense. Got some good inversions. They can be rough. I will not lie that the roughness can be a big problem if you don't know how to attack it, but you really shouldn't need to attack it. You should just be able to enjoy the ride, but we're not all over here expecting a perfect world, I guess. But from if you can tolerate a little bit of roughness, if you know how to attack it, it's really not that bad, and you can enjoy it. Is it something that I'm going to ride like 3 times in a day? Fuck no, I'm probably going to ride it once a year at that, but you gotta do what you gotta do, Number 44, I have Woodstock Express, specifically the Woodstock Express at Kings Island, as well as Kings Dominion. I have the Kings Island credit. I don't have the Kings Dominion credit, though. So this is going to be more specific about the Kings Island one. It's another simple kiddie wooden coaster sort of thing. Not really super rough. Not as rough as you would expect a coaster from its time to be. Is it anything great, though? No, it's not. I don't particularly would say go out and about just to ride these. Just ride it because it's there. But, for being an old wooden coaster, not bad. Not bad. Number 43, I have Adventure Express. This is at Kings Island, the other mine train that I have ridden. And this is like a more adult-oriented Cedar Creek mine ride. It should be, right? They're both mine rides. This one, though, got much more stuff to work with. A lot of cool theming as well, which I like. At the end of the day, though, the thing is, it is a mine train. And the drop, the best part of it's right at the end. So it's you get Like, you get all this awesome suspense that you think it's going to be a big drop, and then it's over. The fuck's up with that, Kings Island? Come on now. But honestly, for a mine train, not bad. It's not something you should flock out to ride, but it's cool. You know, I would get another one if it's there. Number 42, I have Zach Zoomer. It's back at Michigan's Adventure. Again, another family-style wooden roller coaster. It is, in fact, the roller coaster that got me over my fear of roller coasters. It was my third ever credit, and the one that I got over my fear of roller coasters for. Pretty cool, don't you think? So I do have some sentimental feeling towards it for that reason. But objectively, you look at it as a ride. There's not a whole lot going on here. It's, again, some days can be pretty fun ride, some good airtime. Some days you can get your head chopped off and anything in between. It's really, it's like this for all. It's like this for all coasters of its age, especially the wooden ones. It's just gonna be how it is. Like, you're gonna get an airtime, or you're gonna get a vasectomy, or maybe you get both. Who knows? You never know. Number 41, this is one that I hope to re-ride at some point. It is Test Track at Disney World's Epcot. Now, I say I hope to re-ride this because it has been over about almost 15 years now since I last rid this coaster. I rode it once. I don't remember much from it. In fact, this was my first roller coaster ever. And it has gone through a remodel since I last rode it. So I do want to try and get back on it at some point. But I don't want to pay $15,000 for a day at Disney World. I just don't. So maybe, I don't know if I'll ever get back on it. But it's a launch coaster. It's cool. It had really cool theming when I was there too, and the launches are fun. Outside of that, doesn't really do a whole lot. I mean, it is themed as a car that just runs along a road and does like some twists and turns. So you don't really they can't incorporate a lot of airtime because otherwise, or even inversions, obviously, because it would kind of go away from the theme. So the whole point of it really is the theme plus the launches. And the launches are fine. I don't, they're fine launches. I've seen better, though. I've been on better. You'll see in a minute that I have been on better. So it's fine. Just, you got to be a car guy to like it. But I think they definitely did change it, though. I don't know. I'd have to take a look at it again. Number 40, going in the top 40 now, I have Invertigo. This one's also at Kings Island. Vekoma, not a Vekoma SLC, but kind of like it. One of the Vekoma Invertigo models, not as common, that they were putting around at the time. I was pleasantly surprised with this ride. It is pretty rough. Not like jackhammer type rough, but it is not the smoothest. But the backwards element of it and the reverse element of it all is very nice. You know, you don't really know how fun going backwards is until you go backwards on a roller coaster. And this is not the only one where I've been backwards on, but I really, really liked it. I thought it was a good time. So I was happy about that. So if you get a chance to get on this, I would try to do that. Get on this ride. It's pretty cool. At number 39, I have Rougarou. Now, the only reason why I have Rougarou above Invertigo is because it is better on the hit or miss aspect if you're going to get a rough ride or a smooth ride. It is a newer coaster. Well, it's not newer, but it's a B&M, so obviously it's going to be a little bit better in that regard on a more consistent basis. But Rougarou, like Invertigo, like the older Woodies, is hit or miss on if you're going to get a rough ride or you're going to get a good ride. I mean, just people vote with their feet. You look at the line for Rougarou, there's barely anybody in it most of the time. So annoying. But I will say is it has a great location. I think this ride needs to be relocated. I don't think it needs to be torn down. I think it needs to be relocated to a smaller park where it get better ridership, and Cedar Point can use that valuable land that it sits on for a better coaster. got to be done. I cannot believe it has not been done yet. It needs to be done. Because it's really not that bad. It's just not great. It's just a coaster where I don't care to go on it when I get there. You know, that's why. That's why it sucks. So. Number 38. Go with the Super Duper Looper at Hershey Park. The inversion on this thing is insane. Insane inversion. The short scoff loopers, man, they know how to deliver a good loop. Per their name. The reason why I have this at number 38 and not higher on the list, though, is because it really doesn't, outside of the loop, it really doesn't do much. You kind of just do a little bit of a twist and turns and the dip and whatnot. So it is kind of a one-trick pony, but the trick is pretty good. So, plus they're relatively comfortable restraints. I will give them that, which is not a very common thing for coasters of this age. So if you get on, the short scoff loopers are a dying breed, so I would try and get on one as soon as possible if you can. This one is a good choice. Sticking at Hershey Park at number 37, another mine train, it is Trailblazer. This one's got some cool elements with the low to the ground stuff, which I really, really like. But other than that, it's a pretty generic mine train. It was definitely the smoothest out of the three that I've ridden. And the one that was most forgiving with its restraints. And like I said, the low to the ground elements are really, really cool, which is something you don't always get with a mine train. So that's why I have it at number 37. It's a pretty fun ride, all things considered. Number 36, this is one that always fluctuates for me too. It is Iron Dragon at Cedar Point. One of the few aero suspended coasters still hanging on. This one is also hit or miss, kind of like Ruru for me, where sometimes, you get a pretty decent ride, and sometimes you just get your head smashed, and you don't know where the hell you are when you get off this thing. The last couple rides have been on the latter part of that, which is why I have it at number 36, but the views are great with this ride, and the suspending element of just kind of free swinging through the whole thing is still a really, really fun feeling and a really fun element to this ride. It's also a very picturesque ride, so that's why I still have it at the number 36 spot. But like Corkscrew, like Mine Ride, don't be surprised if this one gets removed anytime soon. And that's sad. I don't want this one gone. I would like Mine Ride probably removed or I don't know what that happened. Alexa was talking to me. Moving on. Number 35. I have Corkscrew at Michigan's Adventure. The other Corkscrew that I've ridden. This one is better only because it's about the same level of roughness as the Cedar Point one. It's a little bit better. The elements are more fast-paced, though, so you don't experience the roughness as much. But, and also I think it is really not as bad, because, again, it goes faster, and when you go faster through a rough element, you don't feel it as much, and so I think that's the case here. The faster pacing also makes it feel a little bit more wild, a little more out of control, so you don't really kind of have time to resonate it. And that's why I have it at number 35. So, if you go to Michigan's Adventure, this is probably the one you want to get on. It's the only looping coaster in the park outside of Thunderhawk. But just know it's going to have a pretty long line because of its location. Sticking with Michigan's Adventure at number 34, we have the Wolverine Wildcat. This is one I need to get back on because it got retracked since the last time I rid it. And I've heard that it's a lot better. Before that, this was another one where it'd be hit or miss. I think the airtime on this coaster is really, really good, but it can be pretty rough. It can be pretty freaking rough. Not to say that that's necessarily a bad thing. There's a good kind of roughness and there's a bad kind of roughness. But this one used to shake at least a little too much. Like when uh, the whole station would shake when it would hit the brake run. And no, thank you, no. It's a fun coaster though, even with the roughness. And I think the retrack will have it shoot up my list pretty significantly if I can get on it within the next year or so here. So number 33, I have Comet. Also, that's the ones at Hershey Park. This was a kind of a sleeper for me. Another very old Woody, but it was fun. It wasn't super rough. Had some good airtime. Works with the terrain well. I was surprised. I was genuinely surprised. Comet, kind of a sleeper. And you know what? I like when sleepers surprise me, especially at least in the coaster world. This was a good one. Number 32, I have the Fairly Odd Coaster, located at the Mall of America. And, yeah. This is a pretty fun one. Spinning coaster. Very tight corridors, though. Especially if you ride it with like a full car, it can be very, very tight. And so you kind of feel self-conscious when your legs are flying all over the place and banging into people. But I guess that's just what you sign up for when you get in line for this ride. But the spinning element's fun. Some nice bank turns, kind of that unpredictability element that you get with a lot of Gerstlauer coasters. So it really does live up to that element. And also with it being indoors, you can kind of enjoy it more because you don't have to worry about any of the elements. So that's nice. Number 31, we have the Beast at Kings Island, a legendary coaster. Known for its astute night ride, and I did get the chance to ride it at night a little over 3 years ago now. Well, closer to 4 years ago now. It was awesome. It was awesome. Being in the dark like that, riding around on this coaster, it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. If you're a coaster junkie, make that one of your top things to do if you haven't already. Because I really don't think you'll be disappointed. It is a lot of fun. The reason why I don't have the Beast higher though is if you take away the night ride experience and if you ride it during the day, it's okay. The layout is it's definitely more for speed, which is fine. You would expect a little bit more, and that's pretty controversial for me to say. This is a very classic coaster. And I love it, 100%. I don't know. It's fun a couple times. Like, we rode it in the daytime, and then we rode it again at night. It was fine. Just not anything special, you know? Yeah. I just can't see putting it any higher than this. Number 30, cracking the top 30, we have a tie again. This is for, the Wild Mouse coasters. I've ridden 2 of them now, but this is going to be kind of a generic edition of all the ones like it. Michigan's Adventure, Hershey Park, and all the other ones. They can be pretty fun. Again, riding it with somebody, you're going to have to just be a disclaimer. You're going to probably bump into them. So hopefully you'll like who you sit next to. But the tight turns, they really do throw you for a loop. There's some good drops. It can be some pretty decent airtime as well for such a small corridors of area that they have packed into. It's quite the experience. I will give it that. In number 29, I have another aero suspended coaster, the Bat in Kings Island. The new Bat. And this one is a fun one, I will say. It's a more adult version of the Iron Dragon. And, you can definitely feel the difference if you've ridden both of them. The free swinging element is so much fun here because you just carry so much more speed. And you don't really feel you don't get a lot of headbang on this one versus like Iron Dragon. I think the higher speeds again do help with that, and make it a really enjoyable experience, especially out and about in the wooded area that they put the coaster in. It's really, really nice. All right, number 28, SpongeBob SquarePants Rock Bottom Plunge at, again, the Mall of America. My first and only Curslaver Eurofighter at the time of this video going up. This one's pretty fun. I did expect this one to be a little bit higher, though. It has a lot of headbanging, but the drop is still a lot of fun. There's some good inversions, decent airtime where you can find it. A much less restrictive restraint system than I was expecting. So it's still a good ride, still a lot of fun, but that headbanging, well, it really did catch me off guard. I really wasn't expecting it for the ride like this. I was kind of expecting this one to probably crack my top 15 when I rode it back in 2024, and it did not get there. That sucks. Really, that really does suck. Number 27, I have the Zippin' Pippin at Bay Beach in Green Bay. This one kind of caught me off guard in a good way. Another seemingly generic Woody, carries some amazing airtime, including the Death Hill at the end, which is just some, oh my god, was amazing. One of the single best moments of airtime that you can get on a roller coaster. I said it, but it's really good. I enjoyed it, and very smooth too for a wooden roller coaster. So I know it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but if you find yourself in or around Green Bay and it's summertime, stop by. I think it costs like $1 to ride this ride. Go ride it. It's definitely worth your money. Number 26, I have Wild Mouse again, but this is the Cedar Point Wild Mouse. It's a different Wild Mouse than the generic ones, where it spins, has more banked turns, so that's why it's getting its own ranking. This one is a lot of fun if you like spinning. If you don't like spinning, don't ride this ride. The variability with the spinning, though, is a little bit more than I would have liked. There can be some rides where you don't really spin at all. They do a pretty good job at making it so. They did do a pretty good job designing it to where you probably will spin. I would have liked to see a little bit more spinning, or at least a little bit more, not a little bit more spinning, because you can spin like crazy, but a little bit more consistent spinning. Other than that, the bank turns are fun. It's a lot of the same elements of a regular Wild Mouse coaster, but more bank turns and the spinning. So it just adds a little bit more craziness element to it. The loading process for this ride is not great, but what can you do? Number 25, Wicked Twister, another Cedar Point coaster coming up. This is the first defunct one on here. I had to think about that for a second. Yes, it is. It is the first of the defunct coasters. There's only a couple on here, but I do have a couple of defunct credits. Wicked Twister for me was another one where it was kind of hit or miss with the headbang, but the launches were just incredible, and the twists. Oh my god! They pack a lot in there, and that regular hydraulic launches just were off the charts. Absolutely loved it. What more can you say? A good launch can solve a lot of problems with your life. Rest in peace, buddy. Rest in peace. Number 24, I have Flight of Fear. This is specifically the Flight of Fear at Kings Island. I know King's Dominion used to have Flight of Fear. I don't think they do anymore, but I haven't ridden it, so it doesn't even matter. Another one where it's a great launch, and kind of the indoor elements. The indoor elements of it all make it a lot cooler as well. The theming is actually really good for what it is. Very long waits, though. Very long waits, and I think that's because the Capote coaster does not have great capacity, but what can you do? But still a good ride, when all things considered. Again, like I said, great launch, solves a lot of your problems. Oh, how about another launch coaster right after that? At number 23, I have the Backlot Stunt Coaster, another one that used to be at Kings Island, or is at Kings Island, and I think also used to be at King's Dominion. I think they changed it. I don't know. But again, haven't been to Kings Island, or Kings Dominion. I've been to Kings Island, haven't been to Kings Dominion, so. This launch isn't as intense as Wicked Twister or Flight of Fear, but it is a pretty fun launch. And you also do get some of the cool stuff with like the fire element if it shoots. And also just, you're outdoors. And again, the not as aggressive of a launch does make it just a little bit more fun. Intense launches can be good, but sometimes you just need something a little bit more laid back. And I think this case, it was a good decision for that. So I had a lot of fun with Backlot Stunt Coaster. I think it's a good ride. Number 22, we have our first hyper coaster up, Candemonium, B&M Hyper. This ride is fine. Good airtime, pretty good drop, all things considered. The restraints are terrible. Restraints are absolutely god awful on this thing. I do not like these. And this is not the only coaster on this list that has that one. But I think as far as hypercoasters go, I mean, I've ridden multiple different kinds of hypercoasters at this point. From what I've had to know, this is a bit of a weaker one, in my opinion. I mean, it's even compared to other B&M hypers, it is a little inconvenient for what it is. It's still a good coaster, got some great views of it, and a great picturesque point. To really vitalize that area of the park for Hershey Park. But I don't know, the bad restraint system, and it's just not as strong on the airtime as some of the other hypers or even gigas that I've ridden, and that's why it's a little lower. Number 21, Gatekeeper, Cedar Point, a wing coaster, the only wing credit that I have. And this is a coaster I finally fit on again. Let's go. Yeah. That's how we talk about. That's what we talk about. But I still am not a big fan of the B&M vest restraints. They are not fun. I don't know why they have to exist. They don't have to exist. They make it so restrictive on your legs that you cut off all blood flow to your legs, so it's almost impossible to enjoy the fucking ride. At least you can still kind of enjoy the ride here. I mean, the ride itself is amazing. The drop is awesome, especially if you're sitting on the front row. The keyholes are still great. You actually get a kind of nice intense moment with the helix at the end. But, I mean, I can only put it on 21. Sorry. And number 20, right above it, rightfully so, is Valraven. B&M dive coaster, the only dive credit that I've got. It uses the same restraint system. And I hate it. The dive elements are really fun, but it is kind of a one-trick pony. Though I will say the last inversion, is also really, really good. But the dive elements are amazing, especially during the day when you get a nice view of the park. So I think it's rightful to put this coaster in 20th. Just no more vest restraints, please. Number 19, I'm going to go with Mystic Timbers, a GCI Woody at Kings Island again. Some good airtime with this ride. Nothing really out of the park. It is a fairly short ride, both in height. Not really length. It is a good, graceful kind of just, stroll through the woods. Pretty smooth as well. I'll give it credit for that. Not always the case for a wooden coaster, but this being a newer one, it is definitely very, very smooth. The shed is very disappointing. That's why it puts it a little bit lower on the list. Did not like the shed at all. But otherwise, solid ride. Solid GCI Woody. I really enjoyed it. All right, just double checking here. Yes, this is the highest ranking Woody, though, on my list. Coming in at number 18, Shivering Timbers at Michigan's Adventure. Oh my god, this is absolute peak wooden roller coaster right here. You've got length, you've got airtime. What more could you ask for in a roller coaster of the wooden type? My lord, this is a lot of fun to ride. I mean, the airtime is still awesome. The ride is still pretty smooth, all things considered. It's got that amazing length of time. Um, I mean, you go to Michigan's Adventure, you have to ride Shivering Timbers, right? You have to. Otherwise, why even there? I think Shivering Timbers is a very rightful placement of my favorite wooden roller coaster right now. And at number 17, we have our first Giga coaster, actually. It is Orion at Kings Island. And the reason why Orion is here is the same reason why Candemonium is so low on the list, and it is because of those restraints. They are not great. But everything you take with Orion and Candemonium, just put it bigger. Better drop. Still pretty good airtime. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. It's my only B&M Giga credits so far. And I'm excited to try out the rest, but as of right now, it's pretty good. It's fine. Number 16, I have Great Bear B&M Invert, again, back at Hershey Park. This one's pretty good. I'm a huge invert fan, so this one being at number 16 might be a little bit surprising. But Great Bear, to me, does A, suffer, but also B, benefit from its terrain. It works in really well with other roller coasters, which adds some cool, like, picturesque elements, but also adds a really cool element onto the ride. Though the terrain it has to work with definitely does kill it from being a more classic B&M invert, which it was built during the classic B&M invert time. It just doesn't have that same kind of punch with it. Still a fun ride, though, and I would still recommend it. But yeah. Number 15, I have Fahrenheit, also at Hershey Park. There's a lot of things to love about Fahrenheit. It's a very unique layout coaster. The vertical lift hill is awesome. The drop is pretty good. The only reason why I have this coaster as at 15, because really I think this on paper should be a top 10 coaster. It is pretty rough. The headbanging was definitely noticeable when we rode this thing. It's not as extreme as like a Rougarou could be, or even like, of course, fucking Corkscrew. But you don't come in with the expectations of this being a rough ride. So when it is, it kind of lets you down. It sucks. But still, it's number 15. Still a fun ride. At number 14, I have Gemini, Cedar Point. Oh, this coaster, I hope it doesn't be going anywhere anytime soon, but I fear it's on its way out the door. This is a pinnacle racing coaster. I mean, you're racing against the other car almost pretty much start to finish. You can high-five people on this ride. I mean, you can't do that every ride. Very few rides can you high-five the people all the way over here, as you can here. But also, the coaster is still really smooth. Great airtime, fun drops. I mean, this is just a really fun coaster. This is a feel-good roller coaster, very wholesome roller coaster. It's still very popular. It still gets great ridership. It doesn't race as much anymore as I think they would like it to. And that's why I fear it's on its way out the door. But please don't. Please don't. I want Gemini. At number 13 is the lone new addition to the list. It is Siren's Curse, again at Cedar Point. This coaster can be kind of overlooked because it's not very tall and an already very crowded Cedar Point skyline. But I will say, this is one hell of a coaster. I cannot lie. It is awesome. I mean, that drop is crazy how they hang you just like straight down. They're playing music the whole time. And then they just like drop you to your death. It is actually insane what you do on this coaster. I freaking love it. It is awesome. The rest of the ride is nothing crazy. Some there are some fun though, like conversions, and other cool like points with the bridge and the mist and all that sort of stuff. So it is actually pretty fun. You overlook it because of how freaking insane the drop is, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So number 12, I have Stormrunner. Also at Hershey Park. This is another launch coaster, and it's another very weird layout. You ever noticed how a lot of coasters at Hershey Park are just very weird layouts? I think so. This is a great launch too, though. I really, 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 really enjoy this one, and what more really is there to? I think there's more to say about it. The inversions are a lot of fun too. The top hat is awesome. So what more could you really want out of a roller coaster? I don't know. I don't really know. Number 11, I have Top Thrill 2. Top Thrill 2. A still fairly new addition onto this list at Cedar Point. Talk about going backwards. Holy shit. We're going backwards on this coaster. Oh my god, is it good. And you'll see in a second, I don't think the launches are as good as they were on the original Top Thrill Dragster, but they are still really, really good. And the backwards element definitely does put it over the top for me. Get it? It's good. It's a really good ride. Still gives you that insane feeling of adrenaline that you get with the original. And speaking of the original, Top Thrill Dragster, number 10. The other defunct coaster on this list, at the time of recording this at least. Even though I think Top Thrill 2's launch is good, nothing will beat 0 to 120 in 4 seconds. That is a feeling that you can't really recreate. This is why people do drugs, kids. Alright? That's why you don't ride these rides. Yeah. And then you get up to the top, and the top hat is just awesome, and then you go back down, and then you hit the oh my god. But that's all the same as it is on Top Thrill 2 right now. That 0 to 120 is 4 seconds is... Yeah. I'll never forget it. I'm glad I wrote it. Continuing with the top 10. Let's finish off our list of hypercoasters. Well, not really, actually. We do have a few left. Number 9 is my highest ranked B&M hyper, though. I believe... Nope, not my highest ranked B&M, but one of my highest ranked B&M hyper, Diamondback at Kings Island. This one is... Yeah. It's got the same restraints as Candemonium and Orion. It's like, oh, why'd you put them so low, but this one's so high? I don't know if it's the fact that this coaster opened a lot earlier than those did, or I was younger a little bit. This was like 4 years ago almost, and I was weighed a little less, so they'd fit me better. But the restraint was not really a huge complaint here as it was for the other two. But I guess that can't really be true, because I did have trouble with the Orion one, and that was on the same day. So I don't know what the hell the problem was. But I just remember it being a lot more comfortable here. The airtime on this coaster is also just incredible. Very, very good floater. And the splashing element, I actually felt a little bit of the splashing element. I was near the back, so I would hope I'd feel a little bit of it. But I don't know. I can overlook the restraints here. They weren't as bad. Number 8, my highest ranked hyper, as it should be, Magnum XL 200. Might be a controversial addition, but I mean, absolutely nothing beats those end bunny hills. I mean, there's those end bunny hills. I mean, there's some of the strongest airtime you will ever get on a roller coaster. It is so good, and the rest of the ride's good too. Yes, it is rough. It is rough. I know. I get it. It is a very rough ride. It is not for everybody, but when I talk about the good kind of rough, this is the good kind of rough, okay? I will always ride Magnum. I will always love it. I don't care what anybody says. Beat me up for it in the comments. And number 7, coming in at number 7 is Millennium Force at Cedar Point again. I mean, what more is there to say? It's the original Giga, and it is a really, really good Giga coaster. You want speed? You've got speed. I mean, the speed is there. I don't know what else. Like, I mean, it's actually insane how well this coaster carries speed. It is really, really good. I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, it's a classic. It's an absolute classic of a roller coaster. So I would highly recommend. I mean, this has to be a bucket list coaster for anybody who calls himself a coaster junkie. Otherwise, what are you doing with your life? Number 6, continuing on with Cedar Point, we got Maverick. Maverick at Cedar Point. Again, what more could you ask for in a roller coaster? I mean, you sit the back row on this guy, your life changes forever. I mean, that first drop from the back, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it at all. It's really, really, really good. Still super intense. Some good inversions. That mid-court, that mid-launch is awesome. Some really insane banked turns. Small be mighty, as we should say, and this was definitely the coaster to end the coaster wars. And did I hear that Heartline roll might be coming back? It might be true. If so, oh boy. At number 5, I have Banshee. This is the highest ranked Kings Island coaster that I have. Again, I'm a B&M invert junkie. Probably my favorite type of roller coaster. So what's more to say that Banshee should be at number 5? Again, the vest restraints are pretty bad. But for a ride like this, they don't affect it as much as they do on like a dive coaster or a winged coaster. So I can excuse it there. Just because of the nature of the coaster, you don't really feel the difference as much. I mean, you do feel the difference, but you don't feel it as much. The inversions are great, pretty graceful. There's lots of cool like twists and stuff that, you know, as they took with a new take of B&M inverts, because a lot of the U.S. inverts are from that older generation. This was not. This is kind of the newer generation that's been popping up a lot more overseas, but they did bring it to the U.S. here. And it's a welcome change. I like it. And some cool theming, I gotta say. It did kill somebody, though. And then how about my highest ranked invert at number 4? And my sentimental favorite coaster at Cedar Point, even though it isn't my highest ranked coaster at the park. It's my second. Gotta say, Raptor. It has the roar again. It's still an absolutely intense coaster with some amazing inversions. What more could you? I mean, this coaster is the classic, the classic B&M invert. It wasn't the first one, but it is the definition of a classic, intense B&M invert. It's still loved by everybody. And how could you not? It's fucking amazing. Number 3, one that came out of nowhere for my rankings is Sky Rush at Hershey Park. My highest ranked hyper coaster of the the traditional hyper type. Holy crap. This is a coaster where you're like, whoa. Because this is a very polarizing coaster. Either you really love it or you really hate it. I really love it. It is so intense, such great speed, pretty smooth. The restraints are not that bad. I love hanging out over the edge by the water. I mean, we were like, oh, okay, what coaster are we going to re-ride before the park closes? We chose Sky Rush. Have to choose Sky Rush. For those of you who don't like Sky Rush, I'm confused as to why. I still am. The top 2 spots are taken up by RMC coasters. First at number 2 is Wildcat's Revenge, the highest ranked coaster that I have at Hershey Park. I mean, this is a badass coaster, all things considered. I mean, it is butter smooth, airtime galore, great inversions. I mean, it's everything and more that you could want out of an RMC. They always seem to knock it out of the park, and this one is no exception to that rule. Absolute gem of a roller coaster. And it was kind of cool to see like a better locker policy than the number 1 coaster. We'll get to that in a second. Seeing that, kind of learning from the predecessors and making it better, but I just don't, even with that, I just don't think it's number 1. And as much as it's cliche to say it, I don't care. Number 1 is Steel Vengeance. Okay? Through the thick and thin of everything that I've written, everything that I've talked about, everyone that I've talked to, Steel Vengeance is number 1, and it is not even close. Even today, the airtime is still insanely good. The inversions are awesome. The drop is awesome. It is still super smooth. You get no breaks on the brake run. You go absolutely batshit wild. I mean, it hurts, but it hurts in such a good way, just like Magnum does. It's, with all the other RMCs and other like crazy coasters that have come out, it's insane that this coaster is still the top coaster in really the world still, after 7 years, almost 8 years now of being operational. But it's deserving. You know, Cedar Point plus RMC, you got a gem. And there's a gem here. So, well, folks, that's going to do it for my top 50 coasters rankings list, 2025 edition. Again, not a whole lot of changes from last year, just with the one new coaster and everything like that, but, you know, it's okay. Hopefully next year I do get a chance to ride some more coasters and change up the rankings a little bit, but we'll see what goes on. If I don't ride any new coasters this year, I probably won't make this video again next year because there won't really be a point. So, what can I say? So that's it for this video, though. Stay tuned for the rest of the end of the year stuff for 2025 as we creep closer to 2026. We got some more stuff coming out. So, what are your coaster rankings? I want to know your coaster rankings. What do you think of my coaster rankings? I want to know all that in your comment section down below. Who do you think is number 1? I'd love to know as well in the comment section down below. Till next time, though, that's going to do it for this video. Stay tuned for other much more amazing content. Happy early New Year, everybody. And until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.